Hello and welcome back to the Only Fools Love Horses YouTube channel. Big weekend in the sport of horse racing in terms of grade ones over in Ireland and competitive handicaps over in the UK. Plenty of action to get stuck into. I can't certainly wait for it. I will be at Newbury this weekend for the Coral Gold Cup, also known as the Hennessy, was once known as the Ladbrokes Gold Cup. Keeps changing names more than we can find winners, but hopefully we can find it this weekend. Lee, it's just me and you on this evening, but it should be a cracking show. It should be a cracking weekend as well. You're heading up to Newcastle. I'll be in Newbury, so we'll both be on track. Are you looking forward to it?
Really looking forward to it. And you say I'm heading up there. If I tripped out my door, I'd probably fall into the track, to be honest. Yeah, look, it's going to be a great card, hopefully, at Newcastle. Constitution Hill's there, but I don't think it'll be a walkover as much as last season, just because the likes of Love Envy is in there and you wear it well. But yeah, interesting race. And hopefully we'll get to see Shishkin after his antics last weekend in the rehearsal chase.
Yeah, it was a baffling weekend, and we were just speaking off camera. We've seen odds on shots be beaten, today as we record on Tuesday, and they were beaten on the weekend. Some of our best horses, some of our favourite horses, and they've been beaten as well. So, fingers crossed it doesn't happen to Constitution Hill anyway. Wish him all the best. We'll get stuck into him in good time. And as of course, with our Sunday show, we get to review the action on Sunday evening, 7 till 8 p.m. on Twitter. So we can get stuck straight into the action. Last week, pretty profitable, I think. We had I had a winner or two. Did you have a couple of winners last week, Lee?
I had 4 winners on the Saturday. A couple of 94 shots and I think it was a 45 shot or something in there. They weren't massive prices, but it got us out of a hole anyway. That was for sure.
That's all you can ask for sometimes. Sometimes
if I get over and I'm not losing, I'm doing all right sometimes.
Yeah, as long as you're not losing, that's really the main thing. As long as we're having fun as well, that's the other main thing as well. We'll kick straight into the action then. We're going to cover races from Newbury, from Newcastle, and over at Fairyhouse as well for their Grade 1 action on the Sunday. We'll kick on with the Gerry Feilden Handicap Hurdle on the Saturday, the race before the Coral Gold Cup. And the big horse, especially in my eyes and plenty of people's eyes on Twitter, is Under Control. Now the 6-4 favourite for Nicky Henderson, sporting the famous JP McManus silks, topping the market. She's had the form of her last race wildly franked. Brentford Hope in there for Harry Durham, won at the course last time out, 10-3. Hansard 8-1. Matterhorn 16s. Our Champ 16s. Bigger about the rest. Lee, there'll be plenty of horses that won't be going to this race, but one horse that we can hope is going is Under Control. It's been the plan for a while from Nicky Henderson, and we seem to both think that we're in agreement that this horse should be hopefully going and winning.
I feel like if I say this, I'm taking your thunder, because you've mentioned this horse for at least
you carry on. You carry on, honestly. Carry on.
Well, I just wrote down a couple of stats actually about Nicky Henderson. This is how much he targets this race. So in the last 20 years, there's been 21 runners. He's had 7 winners of this race and 12 placed, which is a good stat for him. He won it last season with First Street. He's won it with the likes of Epatont, and he's got this filly again. He's won it 4 times in the last 10 years as well. Look, it's a strong indication that he likes to target this race, and he's got Under Control here, who beat Eric Bico Lord, who went on to win the Greatwood. She beat that horse last season with the choice of Nico de Bonville as well on for the 2 JP and Hendo horses. The third is won since. She's causing distance winner. Look, 11-13 for a 4-year-old filly is not great off this mark, but she just looks the type that Nicky would do so well with and being targeted for the race. I'll give it a couple of shouts. Look, Hansard as well behind Rhubarb in the elite hurdle last time out, was 4th behind In the Pocket last season. Got good form, Hansard, and also Bad sent a 5-1 for Boodle's first time out in this country. 9 lengths behind Blue King Daru, who was seen one a couple of times this season and last weekend alone, and also £2 lower than last time out behind Knickerbocker Glory. Bad's a massive price in one for a place, I would have said. But it's hard to get away from Under Control and be a strong bet probably for the weekend.
Yeah, look, I saw the price opened up on Under Control, saw 3-1 today. I thought, oh, maybe that's quite big, but maybe another bookmaker might come out and get bigger. And decided to leave it. Saw 6-4, 2-1. I thought, no, that's the boat miss. But no, look, Under Control, the form, like Lee said, from that is it the EBF final that she ran in? It's worked out massively. Like Ibrico Lord coming on to improve £14, win a great wood. Our Coobs finished 5th and 3rd in 2 valuable flat handicaps, and then one at Sandown since is rated £5 higher over sticks. Also, General Madrano, who was back in 4th, has rated £16 higher now, having won 2 handicap chase events and finished 2nd just recently. So form works out massively from that race. Biggest danger, again, me and Lee, we could be on for a forecast here. I'd have Bad down as one of the biggest dangers here. Ben Pauling and hasn't got this over from France for no reason. And, he sent it straight to the Boodles thinking he had a well-handicapped horse in his hands, sent off 5-1, £6 lower since that Boodles run. That was off 126, now off 120. And that form with Blue King Daru looks quite smart. Even on a fair race last time out, first time out, went behind Nick a Block of Glory. Looked like needed the run towards the end there. So he'll come on massively for it. And if there's a few trainers that love to target races, then Ben Pauling's one of them. He's a fantastic target trainer. So look, if he shows up in any good form, 18-1 could be a big price. But this has been the plan for a while from Hendo for Under Control. He's done it with Epitante before. Look, I went on a season preview at the start of this year, and we talked about the Mares Hurdle division. I said, look, don't forget about Under Control here, because she's a horse that Hendo really, really liked last season. He was rushing to get her into the Mares Novice because he thought she has a really, really good chance. But the run was about 10 days before the Mares Novice that she won in, and it looked like she just bounced a little bit. But he really likes her at home. If he really likes her, she should be winning off this mark. And I know she's a 4-year-old filly, and it's a big weight to carry, but
she wouldn't be unbeaten if it wasn't for that Mares Novice. She just kind of bombed out in it, like you say. Maybe it's too close, but then she come out and won off 128 in that Cheltenham April meeting and fairly hosed up, didn't she?
Yeah, she travelled supremely well through that race and won really well, and then went and won at Sandown as well. Yeah, we're both in agreement here. Under Control, it's short, but 6-4. Usually when we agree, it's usually a good sign anyway. I'd hope anyway. Fingers crossed.
I bet Harry would have went against her anyway, just for the sake.
But that's fine. Harry can go elsewhere. That's just one to knock off the list. I only kid. But we'll move on then. Good agreement into the first. Maybe we'll have agreement into the second race at Newbury, the Coral Gold Cup at 250 on Saturday. Again, like a minefield of a race, but a competitive one at that. We can't be shying away from these races because they are competitive at least. Complete Unknown 7-1 topping the market. Same price about Marla Mission for John McConnell, who's having a bit of a tough time finding a winner at the moment. Monbeg Genius 8-1. Stumptown second in the Kim Muir 10s. Midnight River had that run behind Gentleman's Game and Brave Man's Game in the Charlie Hall when we last saw him. 11-1. Our Power Chepstow winner. Not a Chepstow winner. That's Stolen Silver Chepstow winner, but same connections. Our Power 16s, about the pair of them. Lee, I'll go to you again. What do you fancy for the Coral Gold Cup?
You've got no choice but come to me. There's nobody else. Look, I like Complete Unknown. I think it's got a good profile for the race. Paul Nicholas is actually on a 30% strike rate the last 14 days. He's banging in the winners. He's had 14 winners there in the last fortnight. But he's a multiple winner this race. Of course, the mighty Denman he's had. This horse is no Denman, but if he's not going close off this mark, then he's no good, basically. He won a heavy ground bumper in Ireland. He won a grade 3 hurdle at Sandown. He won off 142 by 16 lengths in a chase. And then he went and ran behind the mighty Gerry Colomb. Somehow I've managed to get Gerry Colomb's name into this preview. But he ran behind Gerry Colomb. He stayed on well in that race, to be fair. In behind was Bron in third. He had run third in the Brown Advisory at Cheltenham to show last season's good form. But Bron's bombed out this season already. But last season, that was shown as good form. And even Thomas Darby, he's come out and won a race this season. He was in fifth, a long way tailed off. He won a Egg and Spoon 3 runner last time out. He just held on, but he probably needed the run. That was ahead of Might Eye. He's come out and he won a non-contest. Bo Barley, his saddle slipped the last day in a match, but I think he would have beat him anyway. And Bo Barley's went on to beat First Street in a match again at Kempton. you know, that hindsight, look, the form might have held up, but it might have showed him. Anyways, Might Eye's not a bad horse to be beaten. And that was first time out. I think this, he would have been undercooked and he'd be really prepped for this race. And this is his target for a long time. So I think Complete Unknown has got a solid profile at the top of the market. He's around sevens, I think, Ash, is he?
Yes, 7-1.
Yeah.
The pair with Marla Mission.
I think the problem is, and I'll whittle through a few just with it being a feature race, just because, look, Marla Mission, the profiles there again, would have probably went on to win a National Hunt Chase. He was second in that Colin Parker Memorial, ran a good race there, but the McConnell horses, they're north from 36 in the last fortnight alone. They've had a really dry spell, and you'd want to see more from the yard before you be backing them in this type of race, especially. So he's the one I've crossed off as well. That's All Right, Gino and Galore are two horses that we like, but whether they go Rehearsal Chase at Newcastle and split them up, I'm unsure. I'd probably take a flyer on Galore, you know, just the prices. That's the one I'd looked at the other day, but I have a strong feeling that it'll go Rehearsal Chase. That's the problem. And the likes of Stolen Silver and Midnight River, they've both got solid profiles as well. I just thought Complete Unknown was handicapped to win this, and he should be going close for that inform yard.
Yeah, like we spoke off camera about these two Jamie Snowden horses, and I really hope, like in an ideal world, I really hope Galore comes to Newbury, and That's All Right, Gino goes to Newcastle, because, you know, Galore, I actually had to go through my Twitter earlier, because I was fairly sure I put out a tweet about Galore, like about something to do with the national for Galore, and I was like, am I like seeing things? But no, I remember now. It was at the handicap weights lunch where they announced their handicaps for the Cheltenham Festival races, and he was getting interviewed by Nick Luck on the main stage, and he said he thinks that, you know, they were keen to qualify him for the Grand National, as in the Grand National just went by, and they would have been fine, but they had their plans scuppered a little bit by falling in the Sky Bet at Doncaster, because you have to have those 6 runs over fences, like completed races.
Yeah,
and he fell, right. So that was only 5. So then they went to the Ryanair, and even the Ryanair, like he was last coming around the bend. He was off the bridle, and yet he stayed on the best to finish 5th. And he was the best of the worst finishers. You know, the front 4 were Envoy Allen, Shishkin, Hitman, and French Dynamite. But he was the one staying on past Fury Road, and all the others in behind. So he's always looked like, you know, stepping up in trip will be the one. And again, like, you know, he did then step up in trip at Aintree, but I think maybe potentially just the sheer amount of runs he had in that area of the season. As my smoke alarm's going off behind me, if anyone can hear that. Can you hear that, Lee?
Yes.
All right, I'll stop here. And
the sirens are going.
I'll stop here and check that's okay. Housemates are cooking downstairs and the kitchen's on fire, but we carry on. Yeah, look, Galore was staying on the best in the Ryanair, and then he did step up in trip to add Aintree, and then was pulled up in the bowl behind Shishkin. But look, at the same time, they'd had a rush to get the run in at the Ryanair, wanting to potentially go to the Grand National. It didn't in the end. But look, I think he's been crying out for a step up in trip, and I'd like to have a good go at a good race at a step up in trip back in handicap company. I think like, look, Galore's not going to be my main section because I don't know if he's going to the race, but off 152, I'd say of those top horses in the race, like in the top of the handicap, I'd say he's probably the best handicapped horse of those horses between 150 and 155.
The fall, he just might have taken a couple of runs to get back, because he's not the slickest the jumper. Sometimes he makes that odd mistake, doesn't he? And look, he not felling in the Paddy Power, but he had some sloppy jumps in that, and managed to win it through his class. And then he obviously tipped up in that Doncaster race. It might have just left an effect and took a couple of runs to get back. First time out now, you know, they might have freshened him up, and it might say a different horse, hopefully.
Yeah, it's not. Well, he's had that run over hurdles this season as well, so he's going to be coming in race fit. First run over fences this season, and I think he's a massive player. And like you said, 33s. Although he could potentially go to the Rehearsal, I'd be happy to have an anti-post bet at 33. So I think that's such a big price. Actually, you won't see that price if he goes to this race. And there's no rain forecast as well. He's a horse who prefers a little bit of that better ground. Not like, you know, I mean, he was going to win a he's won on good ground in the Paddy Power, and he's won. Would have won the Sky Bet if he hadn't fallen. That was on good ground as well. So he seems to have that preference for it. There's no rain scheduled. I'd have him as a serious player, but he's not going to be my main selection as an anti-pose perspective. For me, Marla Mission is the one. I've managed to dodge all of the John McConnell horses recently, even though I've had people telling me to back, back Sharp Object or back this, Kimbara's got a good chance, hasn't it? I've managed to dodge them all. But I'm having the one swing on a John McConnell horse, even though he is massively out of form. And John, I really do hope the horses come back into form soon, because you've got a good horse if you can get him right. The second last time out in the Colin Parker, he travelled beautifully, he jumped beautifully, looked like the winner. Just looked like he needed the run though when Thunder Rock came past, and it was over an inadequate distance. He would have won the National Hunt Chase if not for falling. I was almost convinced about that. I think John McConnell is as well. And I just think off 151, he's still very well handicapped to go well in a race like this. He'll stay. He'll like any sort of bits of ground. Maybe he wants, like in an ideal world, maybe he wants it that softer side of things. But at the same time, he's performed well and good to yielding at Naas. And I'm sure it won't be like proper rattling ground for a Coral Gold Cup day. So those are my two plays. But
would it put you off though that form is a lot? But it'd be interesting to see how many have had the run and then lost. He's had that run. Some of them might be in first time out and they just need it. Willie Mullins, the master, he's having the same problem. You never know. Look, the pendulum will swing back in its favour in for your case. You hope it's in this big race.
I really do, and at the end of the day, he beats the Real Whacker in the River Don. So there's my plug of the Real Whacker. He beat the Real Whacker in the River Don by 2 lengths. So that was on good ground as well. So he has got good ground form. So look, those are the two players for me. Me and Lee both agree that either of the Snowden horses have got a good chance. I do think That's Right Gino's got a good chance if he turns up. But in an ideal world, Garlaw, that'd be very nice, wouldn't it?
I would just say Garlaw is 14s and 8s for the rehearsal. So. I don't know if the writing's on the wall already with that one going there. For me, I'd wait, but either the Snowdens going here, whichever one takes the chance in either race, that like we say, we're both keen on them as an each-way player.
Jamie, I know you're an avid viewer of the show. I know you are. Please, Galore to the Coral Gold Cup, and I'll love you forever. I will always love you forever, but I'll love you more forever.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you very much. We'll go over to Newcastle. We're not going to have many betting opinions on these two, but we'll just cover them very quickly. Fighting Fifthly, obviously, very short price about Constitution Hill. Above all else, it'd be nice to see the horse. Like we had obviously the rigmarole, whether he's going to stay over hurdles or whether he's going to go chasing. He's staying over hurdles. He's 6-1 on to go and do hopefully what we expect him to do and win. But he's got tough opposition. Love Envar 11-2, Not So Sleepy 12s. You Wear It Well 12s. Benson 40-1. Look, it would just be nice to see him. But Lee, you actually have got a betting proposition in a race like this / further along down the line.
Look, it's further down the line. Constitution Hill should easily take this. He done it last season as a stepping stone to Christmas Hurdle and obviously Champion Hurdle glory. He's 175. Look, the likes of Benson needs to start now, and Not So Sleepy needs to get out of bed and hurry up because he's an 11-year-old. But the likes of a Love Envy. Look, there's a lot of prominent racers, and it might be a different type of race. He's took it on even in the Champion Hurdle. He's went forward, so nothing can get in his way. But the likes of Not So Sleepy always led has been the comments in the past, and that's kind of his style as well. And the same for You Wear It Well. If she goes here, she was the prominent racer and leader in the Mares Novice as well. And look, she'll be hard to pass, but it's going to be an easy race for the likes of Con Hill. It'll just be a different type of race, I think, from last season. But yeah, I do like Constitution Hill to win the Champion Hurdle and State Man to be in the top 3. So you're getting the 2 places. There's not much in behind. There's plenty going elsewhere. And if Impaire Passe doesn't step up to that mark for whatever reason, and I do expect he will, but if he doesn't step up, you're getting 2 places for State Man. But then even if he does, you're getting that 3rd place. So Constitutional, and State Man to be either second or third, it's 15-8. He'll probably, you know, if he wins impressive, they might cut him slightly. He's 1-2 shot now. You know, the bookies way they want to clip us and they don't want to give us that value. And he might be clipped a little bit. He might go 2-5. Who knows? Yeah, all in all, I just think it's an all right bet. So it is with Sky Bet. There is other bookies available, but look out for them extra specials and concessions. So yeah, for mine is Constitution Hill to win and Stateman to finish in the top 3 is 15-8. And I think there's just not much in behind. That's all. And I think if you fancy Constitution Hill, 15-8 is a fair price.
Yeah, you put the bet up earlier in the week, wasn't it? Or was it last week potentially? So yeah, last week. So look, you know, it's an interesting way into a sort of, you know, division like this, and division where it is dominated by a couple of horses. But yeah, look, it'd be nice to see Constitution Hill. I look, we all love the horse, don't we? You know, so it'll be nice to see him, and hopefully, you know, touch wood.
The black and white colours as well. So you know.
Yeah. I've got some pins somewhere. I've got a Constitution Hill pin somewhere.
I didn't have my t-shirt, me racing tees t-shirt.
Yeah.
But horse racing pins, they sent me a pin of Constitution Hill, and I didn't have it. You've got the Unibet one, is it from Nicky?
Yeah, shout out to Brett Williams. He came around the press room after the champion hurdle, and he gave out these special Unibet Constitution Hill pins. That was nice of him. But yeah, from one stable star in Seven Barrows to another who is a stable star, but he's on a bit of a recovery mission, it seems, in Shishkin for the rehearsal chase. He could be going. I'd probably say Nicky Henson's probably siding towards that way of going to the race. You know, he's got to try and get a run in before the King George, but his rehearsal chase we'll talk about very quickly. 2-1 about him topping the market. If he does go and say this field of 17 stand up, which probably won't happen, but the only 2 horses that will actually be running off their racing weight officially are the 2 Jamie Snowden horses in Galore and That's All Right Gino. The rest of them will be priced out of the handicap, unfortunately, but the betting has it so. Empire Steel 7-1, Bill Baxter 8-1, easy as that, the same price. That's Right Gino's there at 10s, Elvis Mail in there at 10s as well. Galore, that's where he's still 11-1 available, actually, about Galore, it says on my screen now. So could potentially either way. But look, again, Shishkin, we might not have a betting proposition on this, but Shishkin topping the market. In an ideal world, Lee, if he turns up and say, look, we'll say both the Jameson and horses turn up, they don't turn up. You're there at Newcastle, would you be reaching into your pocket and taking out some money to put on Shishkin?
If the 2 Snowden horses come, I'd have to debate it. You know, look, he's the best in, but he's off 12 stone, which Lahon Press done. But Lahon Press was off 164 and winning this race last season. He's off 173. Next best in is Galore off 152 of 10-7. You know, 10-7 compared to 12 stone, and he pushes a lot down that handicap. But look, he's a classy horse. I was on his fight before. I thought I was collecting my money last weekend, and he's not went. I don't know. I've said this race for 6 or 8 weeks now. Shout out to Joe Porter. He's a neighbour of mine. But I said it to Joe, and I says, why don't they just put him with Constitution Hill? He's coming anyway. The Hon Press can do it. It'll be a good stepping stone to the King George. Nicky's already moaned about targets and stuff. He's lost 2 targets last week, and he's got the Peterborough chase, but he says that's too close to Christmas. So that's the following week. This is his only choice, really, unless he goes for a prep round Newbury or something, you know. But it's not the Nicky way, as Tom Bull would say, but it's probably the only way he's got. It's the only option he's got, I would have said. So, yeah, hopefully I can go and, you know, when I'm there, get to see Shishkin again, because he's a classy horse. I just think weight stops trains, and he's a bit of a monkey, isn't he? Look, he's one of them lovable rogues, bit like Harry Beard, but you know, whether he puts it all in is the question. Sometimes he's a bit wayward, like Harry does on this show, you know. So I'll describe Shishkin as a Harry.
That's doing a disservice to Shishkin, isn't it?
Yeah.
No.
Because Shishkin puts in more effort and turns up. Sometimes, look, Harry's refused today. You know what I mean? He's Shishkin.
I have to back his corner. He's actually busy. Fair play to him. He's not just sat it off at the last minute.
Let him off.
No, fair play to him. But look, you know, Shishkin, like he's like he's a bit of a monkey, isn't he? But at the same time, you know, like I'd say they probably won't have the cheap pieces on. I probably, and they've got to go to a race like this because, like I just went through his form there. Like, what's he like first time out, or like what's he like fresh, and a potential angle to say why not go to the King George straight away. He beat Pic D'Orhy in the Ascot Chase off a 77-day break. He's disappointing the Tingle Creek on his seasonal reappearance. He pulled up in the Champion Chase off a 53-day break. He beat Grenetin in the Desert Orchid off a 261-day break, but then put a better performance to beat Energman in the Clarence House. You'd say he does come on for his runs 100%. He's not like a horse who, like Nube Negra, for example, who is very good fresh. So he probably does need to go to this. He can look. We've been asking for it for seasons now. You want to see these good horses if they can't go to a graded race for some reason. You want to see them go to a handicap, and if they force horses out the handicap, that's fine. You know, that's what the handicap's there for. He is a better horse, so he's going to carry 12 stone, and worse horses are going to carry less weight. Even if they're at the handicap, that's fine. I remember someone making the case to say, why not send Constitution Hill into the Betfair Hurdle? I think maybe it's even before his Champion Hurdle or before his Supreme or something like that. Someone said it, and I said, that's probably not a bad idea. It's like you want to see.
Do you remember? May 10 of yours done it and won at Betfair.
Yeah, like you're a good horse. Like the handicap system is there for a reason. Like, you know, at the end of the day, like you're a good horse, and you're half a ton of muscle, half a ton of beast, and you're going to carry 12 stone if you're a good horse, and worse horses are going to carry 10 stone 2, 10 stone 3, 10 stone 4, because that's how the rating system works. And if you've got a horse that you think's a good horse but lower in the rating, and you want to take on a Shishkin, then go ahead. This is your opportunity to. But look, I have no betting opinion in this race because there's so many. Go ahead.
There's a couple in there lurking as well, which Ben Haslam now has the JP horses. A Wave of the Sea has went from Joseph O'Brien off 144, and Ciel de Neige has come from Willie Mullins to Ben Haslam's off 145. I'm not saying them are going to win, but it's interesting race. It's definitely an interesting betting heat. We'll have our main selections and thoughts at the weekend on our Saturday show, but yeah, look, you do want to see it. I'm excited to see him, and I hope he goes.
Yeah, let's. Well, they're just they've already got sights of Cartmel in their blinkers, really, haven't they? Those two for the Ben Haslam. Anyway, we have some races we can get stuck into betting wise on the Sunday over in Fairyhouse. A good card. I remember last year, I think I was about a short head or a neck away from doing a very memorable treble. I'll get the trumpet out for one time only today. Get the trumpet out. Chris Paul, where are you? But look, the 125 is the Royal Bond Novice Hurdle at Fairyhouse. Encanto Bruno topping the market, 9-4 for Gavin Cromwell, and Tobar in there for Henry de Bromhead, and the Rob Core Silks 11-4. Bigger price about Slade Steel, same connections, Rob Core, Henry de Bromhead 4-1. Bigger about the rest. Look, we think it's between the top of the market here, Lee. Which horse do you side on in the top three?
Well, it's not a Geordie reference with Bruno. It is Antobar. I think he is a good horse. Look, he won a 3-mile point-to-point by 20 lengths. He's then went and beat Champagne Admiral by 4 1/4, but he hosed up in that. Champagne Admiral's come out in justified favouritism in winning a egg and spoon race the next time out, but the form was franked. He could have only done what he needed to. I just think he'll go on to better. Slade Steel has had the shorter turnaround, like you say, in the Robco colours for Henry as well. Whether they split them, I think they will. I think they'll take the chance with Anto Bar, maybe. And Canto Bruno, look, he's a Grade 2 winner from Cheltenham the last day. He beat Mel Monroe in the process. Mel Monroe then ran second in a Grade 2 behind Croke Park to frank that form as well. So that's solid form. He has the best form in it in Canto Bruno, but Anto Bar has had less runs. In Canto Bruno's had 6 runs. Anto Bar's only had the 1 under rules. So I just think the potential is there for Anto Bar to do more, and he'll be the one for me. The rest are much about nothing, to be honest. King of Kingsfield has been very disappointing. There's not much in it. Take them the top 3 out, and Anto Bar is definitely the one for me.
Yeah, I fall on the side of Encanto Bruno. I can see the case for Antobar. I thought he was very impressive last time out. I just thought Encanto Bruno was just seriously impressive at Cheltenham. The way he glided through a race like that and beat some fairly decent horses in Tagman, who has that Punchestown Festival form, and he was lucky even in a bumper he beat James's Gate. And he has that he had that form with Astro Diamond in there. He had good land in there, Grange Clare West form in there, and he's beaten Tagman quite convincingly. That Mel Monroe, as you said there, hasn't won next time out, but has gone into a Grade 3 and probably franked the form, finishing second to Croke Park ahead of Search for Glory. Search for Glory is a Gigginstown horse who went and finished third to Monty Star and Hidden Valley Lake in the Mercedes-Benz Novice Hurdle last year. So the form would probably be frank there, in the fact that Mel Monroe stepped up and sort of into that company and ran a good race. I just love Encanto Bruno. I've always loved him. I think he's a very good horse, and hopefully he can continue to progress on. On RPRs, obviously he's got a much bigger RPR than what Antobar's done, 119 to 142. But Antobar, like you said, has got that progression to go. He can get up to that level, whereas Encanto Bruno is there and he can still improve past. So I'll take the shorter price for Encanto Bruno and hope for the best, really.
You've liked this horse for a long time, regardless of what he goes on to do. He won that Grade 2. I mean, you've mentioned him for a good while. I'm gonna have to pull out. I'm gonna name drop you. Actually, I'm gonna have to pull out a video from Cheltenham. I was with John Beresford, and obviously I was with the Imperial Racing in the Imperial Racing box, and obviously they're black and white, and everybody in the box backed Encanto Bruno bar me. I backed Tagman, and the video of John going wild. I remember he had a good bet on Bruno last night. Bruno. But,
it was even better was when John McConnell had a winner at the October meeting last year on the first day. Oh, what horse was it now? It might have been like Fenner Cross or something. Actually, I think it was Fenner Cross, the Supreme Trial. And we go, yeah, John, you got a nice horse here. And I'm like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then I go, oh, anything else for the week? And he goes, we've got this Encanto Bruno in the bumper tomorrow. I'd say he's quite a nice horse. I go, all right, interesting. William Hill, 8-1. I'm like, oh, fantastic news. Go to the pub, have a couple of pints. I see 4-1. I'm like, oh no, that's annoying. And it's like goes off 2-1. He even beat Strong Leader that day, who's come out to frank the form a little bit. Anyway, we digress. We'll go on to the Drinmore, which is the next
in the process for Encanto Bruno for you.
Yeah, I've been on to this horse for so long. Oh, so long. Not as long as Andrew Blair White, though. He has been a massive Encanto Bruno fan.
I think a massive John McConnell fan, to be fair.
Yeah, we just love John McConnell. He's a lovely bloke. I wish him. I just hope his horse.
You wish him a winner. That's what you wish.
Yeah, I know Bruno's with Cromwell now, but I do wish him the best, McConnell. I really hope he does get a horse winning.
He's with Cromwell now, yeah.
The 2 o'clock at Ferry House, the Drinmore, 2 mile 4. Let's be clear about it. Another one for Gavin Cromwell, 2-1. Found a 50, 11-4. Sharjah, the same price for Willie Mullins. I am Maximus, who's in the race. I assume he's still a novice until the end of this month, is it, or the end of December?
So I was looking at that and I thought he must be. He has that. Leeway kind of thing.
Yeah. 6-1 about him. American Mike 10s, Favori de Champ 12s, unlikely to go though. And Percival Legalwa was looking like a beaten horse behind, let's be clear about it, before he fell 12-1. Lee, I may as well go to you first of all before I make my case for my horse, because this is probably the horse you really want to see the most this weekend as a betting proposition.
Yeah, I've harped on about him on my Sunday show for a couple of weeks, to be honest. I really think, let's be clear about it, this is his race. I said it last season about Gerry Colomb going to Limerick for the Faheen Novice. That was his type of race to a T. I think this, let's be clear about it, going right-handed, a bit softer conditions over this trip. I think this is his bag. I think he has the beating of these. He's had a couple of runs, so he bolted up by 10 lengths the last day in a Grade 3 after winning on Chase debut. The one who was behind, Livid Dream, was 18 lengths behind. In that one, ran second to Imagine in a Grade 2, just touched off across the weekend as well. So that franks the form a little bit. But the horse was actually a solid hurdler. I just think he went under the radar. Look, he was 4th in Albert Bartlett behind Stay Away Fair and 4th behind Irish Point. there was plenty of winners in there. Look, Crambo was in behind. You wear it well. Springwell Bay, who's come out and won at Cheltenham since. He's a solid horse, and he's showed that with his jumping, which has been smooth as silk. Like, if you get the chance to watch his last run, he didn't touch a twig. And yeah, look, I think he'll have the legs of Sharjah, who this race will probably suit as well. But he's turning 11, and the form of the yard isn't firing on all cylinders. That wouldn't be a reason to put you off, but it's you'd rather see them in better form, I would have said. But yeah, look, I just think he's got the legs of Sharjah. Founder 50 is a really good horse. And they've also got American Make, who I used to love, but I kind of fell out with last season. And I just want to see him do it again for American Make. I think they'll take a chance with Founder 50, though. Like you say, I Am Maximus, a national winner, but yeah, not one for me for this type of profile for the race. And Favre de Chambreau probably not go. So yeah, look, let's be clear about it. It's my nap of the weekend. It's a really strong bet, and he'll be my best across the weekend.
Yeah, like he's obviously a very good horse, and no, he definitely is. And there's a couple in here that probably won't go or won't be suited to it. Favori de Chambreau being one of them. Look, Percival Lagawa, I thought he was a world beater when he won at Galway, but thought he was very disappointing last time out. So I'm struggling to go with him. American Mike, I would be with, but I'm going to wait until if he's declared, because again, he might not go. 14 days since his last run. I don't know, because I thought American Mike, that was the proper Mike back last time out. And you know, Gordon likes to send a good horse this race. You know, we saw it with Mighty Potter last year, so he does like to send a good horse this race, which would make you fearful of Founder 50.
We'll come to this one as well, didn't he?
Who's that? Sorry, Sam Crow.
Sam Crow. Did he fall in this? It just off the top of your head.
Something like that, yeah. Like he likes some good one, and it's Gordon's time of year. You know, it really is. But look, I found a 50. Like last time out, he only jumped 7 fences. 6 of them were omitted. Sorry, he only jumped one. Like no, seven fences. I'm looking on here, and 6 are omitted. That probably means he jumped 7 and 6 are omitted. But I'll come back to that one. But I'm more inclined to take a chance on Sharjah. I thought he was good last time out. He looked to jump a fence really well, and he jumps his fence out a little bit to his right. So coming right-handed at Fairy House should work out nicely. And again, like I'm looking at the time of his run here at Tipperary, like it was officially described as soft, but he's only 6 seconds behind standard, so it's probably quite a decent performance. Maybe the ground was a bit quicker than what was described as soft, but he's putting a good performance there to beat a fair horse in Captain Combi, who was mixing it around with some decent handicappers last year. And he stayed on nicely. Like I know he's then gone to win Canton and been absolutely battered, but he bolted up at Killarney on his chasing debut, and even last year, you know, he's mixing it around with San Salvador at Punchestown. She wears it well. Eric Bloodaxe over hurdles.
Jushin Hill at the entry.
yeah, got that form there. Just about anyway. Yeah. But look, you know, I'll be with Sharjah here. I think he's got a good chance. 11-4. Yeah, we'll give him a go. You know, he's the old boy.
Both got RPR of 150 from their last chase run. It's just let's be clear, it's got bags more potential. Sharjah's, you know, he's not going to keep climbing.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair statement. Yeah, that's a fair statement. 100%.
He's definitely the best form in this because of them legs of run. Look, behind Honeysuckles and Champion Hurdles, and like I say, behind Constitution Hill and the Aintree Hurdle, wasn't it? Look. He's got plenty of class, but it's just the younger legs might have it in more potential to go on to better, I think.
100%. Another one who's definitely got bags of potential is in the Hatton's Grace Hurdle. The final race we'll be covering. Obviously, last week we saw a stablemate of Impaire Passe go on to win nicely, and Impaire Passe is out this weekend in the Hatton's Grace Hurdle, 6-4 on to hopefully start his season off quite well. Tuiupu 11-4 for Gordon Elliott and Rob Court. Irish Point, Gordon Elliott and Rob Court 8-1. So the two same connections there, both owner and trainer, hopefully stepping up into the race. So one of them could go elsewhere. Astro Diamond 11-1, Buddy 1 14, Santa here 14s, and Beacon Edge 33s. Lee, Impaire Passe 6-4 on, first run of the season. In a race like this, do you see 6-4 on as a big price for a horse like this, or is it a fair enough price?
Yeah, I do actually think it's an alright price, to be honest. Would I be backing it? Maybe it's not. I'll probably do some ACCAs and double it up, but 4-6 is probably fair for a horse that should have the measure of most of these. Buddy won last time out, but it was a handicap. Zanahia beat Big Bad Bob, who was back the last day. Beacon Edge won last time out as well, but a lot of form to find with the likes of Impaire Passe, I would have said. Ashore Diamond's it's a lovely horse, but she'll be Mares hurdle bound more than likely. Will she be a champion hurdle contender like Impaire Passe should be? Probably not. I really like Irish Point. I think he's the one that will chase home Impaire Passe, if not get by. But, I do think Impaire Passe would be tough to beat. Like you say, State Man won the Morgiana last week. This is over the middle distance. And if State Man wasn't there, he probably would have went Morgiana, in all truth. But yeah, look, I think it's his to lose, to be honest. And I'd take Irish Point maybe to finish second. Whether the two Rob Core horses go, look, you've got Tiupu, who won this race last season. In behind was Classical Dream, who won the Ladbrokes Stayers at Punchestown Festival, and obviously Honeysuckle, who went on to win the Mares. So it was a strong enough race, but he needs the right conditions, Tiupu, and Impaire Passe should have the beating of them too, I would have said.
Yeah, it's a no-bet race at this stage for me. Again, just a couple of uncertainties and the fact that you don't know which one of the Gordon Elliott horses is going to turn up. And I wouldn't want to be placing a bet at this stage. But again, it's a good race. Like, you don't have to have a bet in these races to be able to enjoy it. It's a very good race. And I'm looking forward to it, but it's a no bet. Impaire Passe could go and absolutely dominate the field here, but Irish Point is a horse I do like quite a lot. So we'll see how that goes. We'll move on to anything else and naps then, Lee. I'll make up for it in the fact that I don't have one for this, because I do have a couple from around the grounds on the Saturday. But I'm going to go to you first of all. What do you fancy? Is there anything else that you're fancying outside of the race we covered? If not, what would be your nap?
I like Marie's Rock. I think, look, even money, she's short, but she's only got two contenders to beat. Dashel Drasher, she's beat a couple of times. She split Sayed DeBurley, who had won the Stayers. She split him and Florent Porter, two-time Stayers hurdle winner. It ain't last time out. She goes well fresh because she won a Rel Keel, beating Dashel Drasher by 6.5 lengths. The weights are still the same for them too. She gets weight as well from Paisley Park, but like was said before, he's old enough to smoke. So he has run in this race. I think it's 4 times, I want to say. He's won it and been placed. He's a solid horse, but he just time's ticking on for him, and he's got to give the weight away to Marie's Rock. So that's the 3 o'clock on Friday in that long distance hurdle. I think she's a good bet against 2 that are on the way down. But I do like Warlord at a price. I think it's the 225 on Friday, the handicap. He stayed on well in the Haldon Gold Cup. He's been dropped a pound, but he was only beaten 3.5 lengths by Alexia Denutz, the stablemate, who was getting claimed off £7 at the time by Freddie Gingell. And he was weighted to kind of beat him, but he stayed on like a train. He was 11 lengths at the last to be beaten 3.5 lengths. That was over 2 mile, I think it is, or 2 mile 1. This step up and trip was always promised the suit. He was fourth, staying on in the Arkle behind Edward Stone. He ran in a Manifesto chase. He ran in a Henry VIII second there. He was seen as a grade 1 horse, but he was just all at sea last season. They've started much better, the Tizzards, this season round. They've had plenty of winners. And yeah, I think Warlord, I think he's around 7s for that chase, but it's a very, very, very strong chase. I think Fiero Bamboo of Venetia's is weighted to go well in the same race. But yeah, I'll take my chance. Warlord stepping up in trip round Newbury. Form of the stable is good. Yeah, he'd be the one for me. So Warlord Friday and Marie's Rock as well on the same card at Newbury on Friday. But my nap, I'll stick with this, is Let's Be Clear About It in the Drinmore on Sunday.
Brilliant stuff. I'll have 2 horses as well. I'm going to the last race on the Newbury card on both Friday and Saturday. They're fairly well found in the market, but they're still a good enough price for me. Holy Jolly Smoke.
Yeah. I like that one, but sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but yeah, I like this one too.
Yeah, look, I just think I think he's really unexposed off a mark of 118. I think he's incredibly unexposed. In a race where you've got Highland in there at the top of the weights, you've got a few in here who maybe at the top of their handicap or they're a bit aggressive, but you've got a nice progressive horse here who's already had a run this season and behind two very smart horses. I'm convinced that Masaccio and Beat the Bats are two very smart horses that he ran into at Chepstow. Beat the Bats obviously gone in front of the form massively by winning at Ascot and beating the Welcome to Cartier's, is it? For Paul Nicholls. That form is, I think, really, really good. Even going back to last season, finished second to Making Your Mind Up at Paul Nicholls is in a maiden hurdle. That horse is now rated 132 and has won a Grade 2 since, won the Grade 2 Prestige Novices hurdle. And then after that, he went to Chepstow over 2 miles in a novice hurdle and finished second to Cree Billy of John Joe Neal. That horse is now rated 139 over fences and probably would have won at at Cheltenham last time out. Was given an RPR, just seen this, of 151 for his Cheltenham fall, which is incredible. And
an increase.
He's only rated 139, that Cree Billy, and he got an RPR of 151 at Cheltenham, sorry. So look, obviously RPRs and people behind that think he was running a good race. Finished only a 3/4 of length behind that horse over hurdles in a novice hurdle. I think he's really well handicapped off his form. He's 5-1 still. I'm going to take that price as soon as we stop recording. And then on Saturday, final race, I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again to myself. I'm going to the 2 mile handicap chase.
I know what.
Bally Breeze is there.
Who was my other one? I forgot to mention him.
Bally Breeze is there. I was almost counting my money at Cheltenham last time out. I was almost counting it by the time race went off. I thought, this thing, if I don't have a winner all week, this is the thing that wins. I was so convinced.
Really well gambled.
Went off 4-1 in the end, eased up a little bit, but you can understand why he eased up in the fact that he was in a race with Triple Trade, Calico, and Walking Clover, and a couple in there that are being backed as well. Do Your Job being one of them. I am convinced this horse is at least £10 well handicapped. He obviously unseated his rider at the first. I hope he doesn't again, because he's fallen. I'm fairly sure he's fallen or unseated in more than 50% of his races, including his point-to-point. And look, if he just gets a clear run in, I think he's got a good chance. So 8-1 Bally Breeze for me.
I think the last time out, he was put off by a horse.
Yeah, he jumped it, and then next thing you see, Robbie Dunn's on the floor. So I don't understand that.
The other one, they come into him, and it wasn't a proper fall, if you know what I mean. If you go and look back, I just think he's a really well handicapped, and he's the one I looked at as well. Them two, I shall be backing as well.
But at the same time, look, that race, I'm more scared about this race than I am at Cheltenham, because there's this Real Stone who just bolted up for Dan Skelton, who looks like to be reappearing again.
Will he take his chance, will he?
Harry Skelton's jocked up, so you can maybe only assume he's going to. Master Chewy was unlucky last time up, but again, he's gone up in the weights. So has Real Stone. Calico's gone up in the weights for not winning. Look, I just think he's so well handicapped. And 8-1
to win this, he really is. He's the likes of that Real Stone a week on, he would have had a hard race. He's bolted up, but he's still won by a distance on that tacky ground at Haydock. That would have taken a lot out of him. And also, the other one at the top of the market, I just think this one's really well handicapped. And look, Master Chewy's got a lot more to carry for being beaten second.
Yeah. And just very quickly, he will be £4 out of the handicap if Elixir Nuts goes, because he's holding up the weights and it's a minimum weight of 10-2, and he is 9-12. So it will be a little bit out of the handicap, but I don't think that's too much to worry about. And the nap. Look, I'd probably say that it's under control in the Gerry Feilden. It's kind of got to be. But I'd almost be tempted to go next best on Galore for the Coral Gold Cup if he turned up. If he turned up, I genuinely think he's got a good chance. He's not my main play at this stage because I don't know if he's going to turn up, and that's why Mile Mission is. But if he turns up, I think there could be a small role reversal and Galore might be number one. But that's all we've got time for this week. Just the two of us, but we've gone through the racing extensively. So we do hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe. Every single like, every single comment. What do you fancy this weekend? Put it down in the comments. Every single subscription. It all means a lot. So thank you very much to everyone who already does. And if you don't already, please do go smash that like button. Lee, Sunday show this weekend?
Yes, 7 o'clock on Sunday we'll have our live Twitter show on the spaces there. Pete, at risk for rewards, Pete, he's going to be on, but he loves an anti-post punt, and he's got plenty of insight, so I'm sure he'll give us a few gems for Cheltenham and everything as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And we'll be back then. We're back at 10:30 a.m. on Saturday as well. Lee will be probably at Newcastle at this stage. I'll probably be at Newbury as well. Harry will hopefully be back. So we'll all be dotted around the country, but the Saturday Live should be going ahead as usual, 10:30 a.m. on Twitter to go for our final fantasy with all the information that we know to hand to give our final fancies for the weekend. If you're having a bet this week, please do gamble responsibly. Go follow us on Twitter, our Twitter there. Go follow at HarryBeard7 and at Only Fools Have Horses Racing. I think that's his Twitter handle. It's in the description anyway. But yeah, if you did enjoy, like, subscribe. We'll see you very, very soon.